I throw that out there because you know how I am about my face care and my hair care.
You could do infomercial or spokesmen for like radio shows. But anyway, I digress. So we originally started this podcast talking about Key and Peele, and I do want to go back to the friendship because I know we got off track just a little bit, but it's relevant stuff. Nothing wrong with that. But I do want to talk about the friendship of Key and Peele because, like I said, it reminds me a lot of your and my relationship. So, and I don't know if you know this, but the history of Key and Peele, they started off doing, duet comedy shows together. And then they got to an opportunity to do Mad TV. So they did a bunch of skits on there, which I don't know if you've ever used to watch the Mad TV skits on YouTube, but they're hilarious. And then from there, they got their show Key and Peele on Comedy Central. And that lasted, how many seasons was that? Like 3?
I think there's about like 4 or 5 on Hulu.
So it's not a whole lot of seasons, but it was enough for them to get their names really pushed out there. Because before then, they were just people on Mad TV. And then, of course, you have Keanu that came out in what?
Funniest movie ever.
Was it 14 or 15, one of those two? And that movie is hilarious. It was actually a lot funnier than I thought it was going to be. And like I said, they do a lot of voice acting together. So, like I said, they were in Toy Story 4 together. They were Ducky and Bunny or whatever the little stuffed animals were in Toy Story 4. They've done an episode of Rick and Morty together. Which I just watched this the other night. The episode where Morty and Summer accidentally split the time loops.
Yeah.
And that little alien thing with the slug gun or something.
The testicle.
Yeah, that's Keegan-Michael Key. And then his buddy who he was calling on the phone, if you watch all the way to the very end of the episode, his buddy that comes up with him is Jordan Peele. So the two of them are in that episode together. And I think Keegan-Michael Key... His name is Keegan. I think he loves the voice acting stuff, especially because his voice fits, really, really well for voice acting in cartoons. It can get really, really hysterical, really high pitched, really, panicky. He has a very panicky voice. And then Jordan Peele is just like the good sidekick voice who just comes in. You know what I'm saying? So they work well together with their vocals. And I also remember seeing, after Get Out came out, and I think Jordan Peele won an Oscar for it. Keegan-Michael Key was in the green room or somewhere watching it with a bunch of his friends, and when he won, he got so excited. Like you could see him cheering and standing up, and even started crying a little bit. Like, that's my homie. He just won his first Oscar for his first movie directorial debut. Like, he was so excited for him. So I love their relationship. And like I said, they still do stuff to this day together. Whenever you see one, you're most likely going to see the other in some form or fashion. They do their own separate things. I know Keegan-Michael Key does movies by himself from time to time, and Jordan Peele has his own production company now. He makes movies, and he does the Twilight Zone reboot, all that good stuff. But I just love how their relationship is so bonding. Like, even though they're not working together still, they're still like very close. You can tell they still call each other, hang out on like the weekend.
Oh yeah, like if I'm not mistaken, there's this show. My fiance actually got me into it, and right when I got into it and felt like it was so good, Netflix, dumbass bitches, decided not to renew it for another season. But it was called Friends from College. It's got Keegan in it. It's really good. The gist of it is it's a group of friends from college, and the character Keegan, he's having an affair with one of the friends, but his wife and her husband are also in the group of friends, so they're trying to keep it a secret.
Wow.
And it's basically, it's so good.
That sounds like a lot going on. But
there's a lot going on, but it's so good. And if I'm not mistaken, what is it? Dude, what is it? With the monster that's like, I'm trying to take a bubble bath.
Big Mouth?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, one of them are the
Jordan Peele is in it.
I like that show.
I love Big Mouth. He plays the ghost of Duke. He plays the ghost of Duke Ellington, who lives in Nick's house. Nick is the main character, and the ghost of Duke Ellington lives in his attic or some shit. And he's actually pretty damn funny. And they also in Big Mouth, because Big Kroll is Lord, give me a second. Nick Kroll is the creator of the show. He voices like over 30 people on the show, including the male hormone monster and the main character, Nick. But there's a lot of shout outs to Jordan Peele in Big Mouth. In one episode in particular, Nick and his friend Andrew, who was voiced by John Mulaney, who was hilarious, by the way, they sneak out of school and go to New York City, and they take Duke with them, you know, for some backup or whatever. And Duke is a ghost, so he can possess people. So he's just going around town possessing a whole bunch of people, getting drunk as hell. If you look in the background of that scene where they reunite with him after he's like really, really drunk, you'll see a poster for Get Out in the back with the dude crying face and tears on down. You'll see that banner in the background, and you'll even see his name right above it, right next to the character that he's playing. So they do a lot of shout outs. And then he did another reference. It was a Blue Waffle episode. It was like a sex education episode, a Planned Parenthood episode, I'm sorry. And they were trying to explain the internet craze, what a blue waffle was, and how that was a big conspiracy theory and it's not real and it was all fake and shit like that. They have the ghost of Duke Ellington in the yellow suit with the sun hat, just like the dude from Get Out, with his nose bleeding and screaming and shouting "Get out" at Andrew, who was not Andrew, but somebody who was like, "Oh my God, they gave me blue waffle, now I'm gonna die." Like, it was, so there's a lot of shout outs to Jordan Peele on Big Mouth.
Yeah, like I absolutely love their creativeness. And it's like, I keep laughing in between because I was watching it today while I was working from home. So I'm on like the WebEx call video chat, but I have myself muted while I'm like watching Key and Peele, and it's this episode, and it's the most funniest one to me. Mm-hmm. It's like in the skit, Keegan walks in a neck brace and a head brace and stuff, and he walks into the bar and he's trying to party at the bar, but just him moving hurts, so he keeps screaming. And it's funny. And you got Jordan, who's the bartender. He's like, "Here, I'm gonna put a straw in it for you so you can drink it." And Keegan tries to get out his wallet, and he's like, "Ah!" And then they finally called a bouncer on him because he keeps screaming every time he moves. And the bouncer walks up to him and he grabs him like this and he screams, and Jordan's just like, you gotta be gentle. And he carries him out the club, and Keegan's just like, "It hurts all over." And then he comes back in the disguise without the brace on, with like a little it's like made of construction paper. Yeah. It's a paper mustache, and he's got like the little Hispanic accent going on. And he's like, "I would like 2 tequilas." And Jordan looks at him and he grabs his arm and he does like this. And Keegan's just like, "Ah, why you gotta do a brother like that?"
And that's what I mean when I say his voice. He can make it go like really, really high. You know, it sounds very cartoony. So I think him going the voice actor role is a good look for him, because he can change up his voice like that. And his voice is so recognizable at the same time, but you also kind of like, man, who is that? I know that I've heard that voice before. And then you're like, oh shit, it's Keegan Michael Key. And like I said, if you see one, you're more likely to see the other. But I would love for them to bring back Key and Peele if they can, or just when I first started watching it, I was like, this kind of feels like the Dave Chappelle show, but I said this in front of my fiance. Get out of my head for a second, because I was literally just about to say the one controversial thing was, not only did Key and Peele take the Chappelle show time slot on Comedy Central's lineup, but it was a couple of years after Dave Chappelle kind of disappeared was when Comedy Central signed that contract deal with Key and Peele to do their show. So I know Dave Chappelle has mentioned this a few times before, and I don't think there's any real animosity between the three of them, or the two of them and Dave Chappelle, but like they kind of replaced him in a sense, because there aren't any real black comedians on Comedy Central's lineup, you know, on a weekly basis like that. So I think Dave Chappelle was kind of one of the originators of that. Black comedian with his own skit show. And then here they come, kind of doing the same thing in his place while he was trying to figure himself out. Because he was gone for like 10 years. And then he came back with this, with this humongous Netflix special deal. He had like 5 Netflix specials, and he still gets Netflix specials. Like, that's where he's at exclusively now. But like I said, I don't think there's any real animosity, but the reason why you feel that way is because that's kind of what happened.
Look, I made the mistake of saying this in front of Del. I was like, I feel like I'm watching the Dave Chappelle. Well, I feel like it's like the Dave Chappelle show, but they're funnier. And he almost hit me with a book. But here's
the thing though. When we're talking about race, they kind of do touch on some of the same topics, because Dave Chappelle did talk about race a lot on his show. Granted, he only had 2 seasons, but that show was like phenomenal, and everybody remembers it, and everybody loves it, and everybody was watching it. So Dave Chappelle did talk about race a lot on his show, and they do too, but they're coming from a I'm mixed perspective, and he's coming from I'm a Black man perspective, which I found out through one of his Netflix stand-up specials that he is biracial to a degree. His mother is mixed with white and Black, so he's like 1/4 white or some shit like that. And his wife is Asian, so his children are also biracial.
Mixed. Yeah.
And so he can relate to an extent or to a degree, of course. But for Key and Peele, they're more talking about the code switching, the Black Jeff versus the white Jeff, and being able to go back and forth and do those things, versus Dave Chappelle, who is kind of just making racist jokes and stereotypical jokes. But he also targeted everybody. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't just white and Black. He was white, Black, Asian, Hispanic, mixed race.
Yeah, like if I'm not mistaken, there's an episode on the Chappelle show where like he literally talks about Black people being crackheads. Like the character is a Black person who's a crackhead.
What's his name? Tyrone Biggums. he got the ashy white lips and the red.
Yeah, and the beanie going on, bro.
It's Tyrone Biggums. Yes.
But I feel like the world is like way too sensitive right now for Dave Chappelle, but they need him.
Yes.
And then I also feel like in today's time period, we need Key and Peele back. And I say that because there's an episode, again, I just watched it, where, and this is so like spot on till today. There's a skit where they're in a cubicle and there's a gay guy, and then there's another gay guy, but nobody would know he's gay because he's not an obnoxious gay.
Oh,
and he's like,
that is probably one of my favorites.
Girl, so you already know what I'm talking about.
What did he say? He said, "Can you turn down what you're listening to?" He's like, "What? You don't like my music?"
Yeah, he was like, "You don't like."
It sounds like people moaning over bass line.
That's literally what he said. And then so the whole skit is basically like the obnoxious gay guy. He's got like dicks and stuff hanging from places. He's like, "Oh, so you're a homophobe?" And Jordan is like, "No, I'm not a homophobe. I just don't like your music. This doesn't seem appropriate for the workplace," because they're at work. And then he was like, "You want to see a picture of my asshole?" And Jordan's like, "No, I don't." So he was like, "Oh, you are a homophobe. You're homophobic." He just keeps calling him homophobic. And then Jordan's boyfriend in the skit is his boyfriend. He comes over and he introduces him. And then Keegan turns around and he's like, "Oh, I'm not being persecuted. I'm just an asshole." That is so relevant to today.
I'm sorry, I'm thinking about the whole.
It's funny, but it's relevant.
There's plenty of stuff I got to talk about. My penis cup.
And at the end of it, he started sucking on a dick lollipop.
Oh my God. Look. And I'm sorry, but you're exactly right. That episode is 100% relevant, because a lot of people will look at, they'll reach for racism. They'll find racism in the tiniest, ittiest, bittiest details, when in actuality, it's like, I'm not being racist. I'm not even trying to be discriminative. I'm just saying what you're doing isn't helping any cause. And it's honestly, doing the opposite You're showboating and doing all this unnecessary extra stuff is making the entire culture, the entire race, the entire whatever look bad. And then you want to get mad at people for calling you out for it, when in actuality, you can be just as proud and just as successful and just as relevant without being over the top obnoxious about it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. So, like that's like that video. The first video that surfaced was of a white woman holding a black woman at gunpoint. Then when the rest of the video surfaced, turns out the black woman actually was doing the fucking most, and Karen had the toolie on her, and she was like, hey, yo, you making me feel uncomfortable, bruh, back up. And that's when she pulled it on her. Okay, you know me, I'm the first one to say, I'm not finna waste my energy when I done spent $350 on a 9 to put 2 hollow tips in you.
Yeah, right.
It's just not finna happen. Especially if you're doing all this yada yada, what's up. All right, cool. So I can't say that was a racially driven instance because she tried to apologize.
Right.
They tried to fix it first, you know? Right. Just like with, no offense, I've been kicked out of the LGBTQ community so many fucking times because I'm marrying a fucking man, so it don't even matter at this point.
And before you even say that, I just want to, because I would consider myself an ally. I'm not bi or pan or A or whatever other letter.
And I would know.
I know you would, but again, you can't help who you fall in love with. And the fact that the two of y'all have managed to make this relationship work throughout, because you've known him about as long, maybe even longer than you've known me. So it's like, it was bound to happen eventually. And I think, and not to put you on blast or make this too personal, with all of the shitty ass niggas that you've dated, which we both have some shitty ass niggas on our history board. So I'm not trying to single you out. The fact that you were able to fall in love with this person who is not only encouraging and supportive, but is loving, giving, and is willing to accept your son as his own without hesitation, without giving it a second thought. Why the hell does it matter that he's a man and not a woman? Like, you're not, like, who cares? Like,
girl, like, everybody under the sun who has grown up with me through middle school, high school, hell, I'll say even elementary, because I was still giving off a little bit of, you know, vibes in elementary. So middle school, high school, definitely. Anybody who's known me knows that I'm bi. I enjoy big titties, big ass, and vagina.
That's great.
But look, I'll go to Pound Town in a second. So I will straddle the fence. I don't care. But it's like, I said that I've been kicked out so many times because what I'm about to say next, like, what can y'all do? Kick me out again? Like, you already told me that I'm not a member because I'm marrying a man, so I'm strictly heterosexual. Great for telling me what I am.
Right.
But anyway, I said that to say that episode also is a great representation because, you know, there are the extremists in the LGBTQ alphabet community that are always looking, oh, well, you don't like me because I'm gay. It's like, no, I could just not like your personality because you're an obnoxious gay.
Right. Like,
I think you're cool, but if you want to sit there and, let's be honest, some of them have flamboyant attitudes and everything has to be them doing something sexual with a lollipop or something sexual with a popsicle or even a fucking straw. Like, let's not ignore the fact
everything is about sex with you.
Exactly. Like, let's not ignore the fact that there are some people out there that are like that. And so it's like, I feel for some people, I can't speak for all people, but for some people, it's not that you're gay. It's the fact that you can't just be like, there was a video that came out and it was a bunch of gay dudes who were breaking gay stereotypes, who were breaking that gay stigma. It was like, I'm a gay, but I know nothing about fashion.
Yeah.
And they were talking regularly. They were like, I'm a gay, but I don't V-snap. Like, it's like, I'm gay, but I don't, like, what's up? I gotta cry, girl time.
Like a bad bad person or if this is controversial, but I always said to myself that I would prefer the type of friend. Like, if you're gay, you don't have to be dramatic as fuck all the time. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if that makes me a bad person for saying something like that, but I don't want to name any names or anything. I don't want to put anybody personally on blast, but I can recall 2 people who I've met personally who were proud gay men, but if you looked at them or if you talked to them, you never would have guessed it initially because they don't fit into that mold or that stereotype. I meant 2 people like this. And then going back,
I know several, and it's just like, I'd be like, pause, you're gay? And they'd be like, yeah.
And maybe that's the reaction they want to avoid, because you assume because I'm gay that I have to be, you know, wearing rainbows and glitter all the time and listening to Beyonce and Big Frida or whoever the fuck and doing all this unnecessary flamboyant stuff. Like, no, I'm just a guy who likes guys. I'm just a girl who likes girls. Like,
and I don't understand why it can't be that way. Like, okay, I get it. If you're trans, if you're trans, you are a woman, so you dress like a woman. Okay. But that's fine. Why do you have to be like, oh, I'll suck a guy's dick in 2.5 seconds. Like, he gonna like this man dick. Like, I feel like you can't be trans and say that you got a dick. Even if you got a dick, like, you're trying to be a woman. Women don't have dicks. I'm sorry.
And you're exactly right. But that just reminded me. So this is a little off topic, but it also kind of fits to what we're saying. So my oldest brother, Nathan, is in this online D&D page. And the most problematic, chaotic, evil character in this group is this girl. And for some reason, for starters, she has made it very, very clear that she's a lesbian. She talks about her girlfriend all of the time. And
Dungeons and Dragons. You said D&D and I said Dirty and Dicks.
Oh, okay.
Dungeons and Dragons.
I'm sorry. Yeah, Dungeons and Dragons. I'm sorry. It's a force of habit. So she talks about her girlfriend all the time, and anytime. You thought I said what? I'm sorry. You thought
I thought it.
What?
Dirty and Dicks. Like, look.
No. Why would? Anyway. So, and whenever a female, character is introduced, she does everything she can to flirt with or sexually harass or manipulate this female character. So, for example, they were in like the queen's castle. She ran up to the queen, sat on her lap, and was like kissing all over her hand and her face and doing all this unnecessary stuff. There are fairies that pop up from time to time. And it was said that this vial of whatever kind of potion they collected would make you irresistible. So she just stole, irresistible to the fairies. She just stole all the potions and would drink them back to back just so the fairies could be all over her in a sexual type of way. And she even betrays the group several times to appease the fairies or any other female character, even if they're evil or sinister. She goes out of her way to entertain the other females that aren't even in the group, that aren't even playing the game, that are trying to kill them. So his thing is okay, we get it. You're a lesbian. Congratulations, whatever. But that doesn't mean you have to constantly prove your lesbianism to the group, because we already know this. So you're doing all this unnecessary stuff. Why? Because you're a lesbian? Because you're the only girl? Like, because you feel you have to make a point? Like, it's unnecessary.
And that's something that I kind of like hate, is because I'll see posts all the time where it's like they're putting flamboyant gays in everything.
Yep.
And they were like, at this point, you're forcing it on us. Yep. And people's rebuttal to that is, well, y'all are forcing heterosexualism. Y'all are forcing that on us. How?
Sometimes, and again, I'm just an ally, and I might get kicked off the internet for this, but so be it. Sometimes the LGBT plus community does too much. I understand that you want there to be representation, and you want there to be, let me give you a prime example of perfect gay representation on television. You ever watch the show Good Girls? with the 3 moms who were robbing banks to make money for their children, but they get caught up. The lead FBI agent who is responsible for investigating the cases that involve them is gay. And he's not flamboyant. He's one of the type of gay people that you would never know until he came out and said it. So there's a scene where one of the girls goes over to his house. His boyfriend answers the door. His boyfriend is very young, very handsome, very well fit, put together. Walks up to the door, opens it with his shirt off, like a silk robe or whatever, comes back to the guy. Hey, you just got invited to, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I don't really want to go to that. This blah, blah, blah. They're having a regular conversation. They're a regular couple. Perfect. You see them again at the girl who invited them to dinner. She was like, oh, the FBI agent and his boyfriend are coming over to our house tonight. We have to make sure everything is, it's not awkward. The children weren't uncomfortable. It wasn't weird. It was just a regular couple doing regular couple shit. Or even in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I know I keep bringing it up, but there's a lot of LGBT representation there because the lead captain, Captain Holt, is gay. He mentions his husband extensively. He even comes in as a reoccurring character. Him and his husband are together on the show all the time. And then one of the detectives, Rosa, is bisexual. So she goes through a variety of relationships with both men and women throughout the show. So those are 3 perfect examples of LGBT plus representation on TV that is not over the top, dramatic, flamboyant, or excessive.
Exactly. And Key and Peele also touched on this in one of their skits. People are so used to them being so flamboyant. And like I said, I'm bi. I don't know if it's like socially accepted for women to just be bi and it's okay.
It's not.
But I don't know if that's what they think, but I'm gonna let you know right now, for a period of 8th grade to, I'll say about 10th grade, nobody knew that I was bi because men would threaten to fuck me straight. And it made me very uncomfortable.
Can we just for a hot second talk about Kodak Black? Just for a hot second, because you said that and it turned the light on. So the rapper Young M.A, who made the song Ooh, she kind of looks like, she kind of looks like O'Shea Jackson Jr. a little bit.
Stop it.
But Kodak Black is the most disgusting human being on the planet. And they only canceled him after he said something about Lauren London, who is the late Nipsey Hussle's ex-girlfriend.
I thought they were married. Fuck me up.
I mean, they might have been, I don't know. But he was like, oh, she gonna be on the block and now she gonna be like a widow, huh? I'm gonna have to get... He said something stupid like that, and it was like, y'all waited to cancel this man now. But a couple of months ago, when he was talking about fucking Young M.A straight, which everybody knows that she is a hardcore lesbian and she is proud of it. You saying that about her was beyond disgusting and inappropriate. And it's one thing to be like a bisexual woman or even a lesbian woman and still have that feminine identity, you know what I'm saying? But Young M.A is butch. She dresses with baggy jeans and boxer shorts. She always has her hair braided. It's never out or curly. She doesn't wear makeup. She doesn't get her nails painted. She looks good, but she dresses in suits and flat shoes. Like, she doesn't dress like a woman. She doesn't wear dresses and skirts and blouses and big hoops. She doesn't dress like that. So for the fact that she said this is disgusting. Like, what is wrong with it?
And it's crazy. When that happened, I don't know if you remember my post about it, but when that happened, I did make a post and a bunch of dudes got under my post and they were like, I don't understand why y'all are so bothered by it, or I don't understand why it makes you uncomfortable. And that's what Greg was actually one of the people who commented, and he didn't understand why it bothered me. And I had to tell him, like, for a certain period of my life, I could not truly be myself because men were threatening to fuck me straight, basically rape me. Men were sexually harassing me, trying to grab my ass at school, something that y'all shouldn't even know nothing about. Right. But because I identified for a period of time as bisexual, I had to cut that off from myself.
And I think yes, that's very important. But I think for anyone else who's asking, the fact that this man said that he was going to pursue a woman sexually who has made it beyond clear that she is not in any form or fashion sexually attracted to men, and you're going to demand or force yourself onto her, is a problem. That's what bothered me. You can't say out loud that you are going to force yourself sexually on a woman who is not in any way interested in you as a joke. Like, that's disgusting. But I don't want to talk about him. I don't even.
Yeah.
There's a million and one things wrong with this nigga Kodak. Like, and I hope
I brought that up because I was going to touch on a skit that Key and Peele actually did again. And it was Jordan and Keegan were basically a gay couple and they were going to get married. And he's trying to say it to his black family, but because the gays are usually so flamboyant, this is the first time their black family in the skit has met a gay who's not flamboyant.
It wasn't them two, it was like his cousin, and they were helping plan the wedding, and the dude, Jordan, brought his co-worker who was gay to the house to help them plan the wedding. And there, what did he say? He said you could throw something other than rice? And he was like what, sir? What would you throw other than rice? And he was like, I don't know, Skittles. I'm like,
no, he said something. Right. And they were like, okay, when do we sing the YMCA? When do we do spirit fingers? And they're trying to explain to them it's just a normal wedding just between two guys. Like, why are y'all doing the most? But that skit also is relevant because y'all are so flamboyant for no fucking reason. Like, you can be gay and be proud, cool, whatever. You ain't gotta say you suck dick every 25 seconds because if a woman who's straight says she sucks dick every 25 seconds, she's a hoe. How do you not expect people to feel some type of way when that's all, there's no depth to your character? Like, yes, we get it, but you're more than just gay.
Right. Or
you're more than just a gay person.
The other skit where they were talking about legalizing gay marriage, and this is the one where they were the couple. They were often on the news talking to the reporter. Normal person, and then Jordan is the flamboyant, over the top, screaming.
He's like, yeah, we're gonna get married, and Keegan's just like, I don't know if they're gonna legalize it in all the other states though, but we're hoping that they do.
It's not fair to everybody. And he was
and then Jordan's just over here like, yes, we're gay, we're queer, we're here, nah. Yeah, and then Keegan's just like, bro, chill out. Like that's another great example. It's like nobody is trying to shame you because you're gay. That's not it at all. We're trying to get you to realize that being gay is probably not the most important thing about you. Like, yes, It is you, but okay, you're gay. Great. Do you like to paint? Do you have a passion for kids? Do you love fashion? Like, do you have an IQ like Albert Einstein?
Is there any other type of personality trait about you other than the fact that you're a man that likes men?
Exactly. Or a woman that likes women. Or a male to female transgender or a female to male transgender. Like, there's more to you. Just like there's more to us black people than just the fact that we're fucking black. Right. Like, girl, did you know that I'm creative as fuck? My friend Amanda, she is an amazing painter.
Yep, she is. She really is.
Did you know that we're witches? Like, there's more to us. Did you know that my Asian fiance is a gamer? Like, did you know that my son wants to be a dragon? Like, there's more to us than just our fucking skin color. There's more to you than the fact that you're gay.
You said like astronaut or doctor. You said he wants to be a dragon.
Oh yeah, he's still going for it. My fiance said he would like to remind the public that he's not Asian. If y'all could see this man, you would understand why I think that he has Asian.
I'm wondering why you keep saying that, but I wasn't gonna bring it up because I know what he looks like. So
okay, for the sake of conversation, we'll say that he's black. But if y'all see this man's face, he looks directly like one of my favorite Asian Korean pop stars.
You're insane, but okay. Let's
agree with her.
Let's wind it back